The Harry Potter movies are fun, engaging, dramatic, and filled with all kinds of personality. Overall, I enjoyed the franchise. I would consider myself a casual fan of the series. I don't know the super in-depth things about it. I've only read book one. I personally consider movies 1 through 3 as the best of the 8 films. I even commend how well movie 3 handled the time travel part of its story. The only issue I have is what happened to time travel. I would be using that thing in later films. Another big issue I have is the death of Dobby. He was cut out of the later films, so I didn't buy that Harry would care so much about his death. That's the fault of the movies. I'm doing this video on Order of the Phoenix because of the way the plot developed. There were lots of problems how characters would allow things to happen, or how long they would endure ridiculous things without speaking out or directly dealing with Umbridge. Some things shouldn't have been allowed to go as far as they went. Order is actually my second hated of the films, with movie 4 being the most hated due to how worthless the other schools and most of their characters never got developed. They might as well have been cut out of the movie. And Hagrid drops off a cliff starting with this movie. The core purpose of Year 5 was to show us that our teens are becoming more proactive in the magic world, but at the same time, they were still not in full control of the direction things went. Lots of times the movie would have the kids wait for a last-minute say from Dumbledore. Many of the situations they got put in order to set up the background of the world was too contrived. I like where the movie goes. Instead of just being about the school, there was some really good dialogue moments, like when Harry is talking to everyone in Hogshead. I also know that some book fans consider movie 6 being the worst one, due to the Half-Blood Prince basically getting no good explanation or time in the film, but Order really got under my skin. And my first headache comes right at the start of the film. Before anyone starts typing, I know at this point there's many people corrupt behind the scenes, who are the ones that want Potter separated. But the holes within the trial Harry is forced to do are so big, this should have failed long before they sent that letter out. Recap the opening. Dudley, being his usual ass, bullies Harry, making fun of him having the nightmares about Cedric's death. This is when Dementors go after Harry. Now, because Dudley is a muggle, he can't see the Dementors. So he has no idea what's going on. All he sees is water freezing, the really bad thunderstorm, so he's going to think Harry is doing this. Dudley has countlessly mistreated Harry this whole time, and he lies. Why would anyone trust what he says? The Ministry of Magic is supposed to be all-powerful, all-knowing, so what happened with this trial? This all spans from the rule of underage magic. It's basically the magic world's equivalent of underage drinking. You can't do it in the muggle world till you're an adult. But the Dementors attack Harry, pin him to the wall by his neck, so Dudley obviously would see this, then start sucking out their souls. This basically will lead to death. Harry has no choice but to use his Patronus charm to force the Dementors to run, saving their lives. He then gets a nice letter from the Ministry saying he was expelled because he used magic underage and in front of a muggle. I have to bring this up. I've always hated that Harry had to return to the Dursleys, but why wasn't anything done with them treating Harry so badly? I mean, at least do something to Dudley, like put a spell on him. If he lies about Harry, it automatically exposes him. I would not bring him back to this horrible family without some assurances, because he's learned nothing all these years. Second, why is the whole thing of Dudley seeing Harry do magic a part of this trial? Dudley and his whole family knows about magic. This should not be a part of the accusations. Third, and I looked this up, but why aren't the Dementors being detected? I tried to see if Dementors are shielded by magic, but nothing says they can do that, so magic can be detected anywhere in the world, right down to the minute, because the letter states the time when Harry used the spell, but Dementors can be hidden. That's a big security problem for places like Azkaban. Fourth, they know Harry used the Patronus charm. The Patronus charm is basically the physical form of good energy. It's created by the user's happy memories. It was a big thing for Harry to figure out how to do. Why would someone do this spell to break the underage rule? Why was no one asking why Harry casted this spell? If you're going to say Harry did this to attack Dudley, this is a defensive spell. Harry's going to use a spell that's all positive energy to do a negative act? That makes no sense. So what was Harry's goal in using this spell, court? Then the worst kicker is, Where is Dudley? The movie's all about this whole no proof this, no proof that. Dudley had his soul partially sucked out of his body, and he's nowhere to be found? Bullcrap. Again, he knows about magic. There is no reason for him to be absent. He was a victim. The moment the trial was forced by Dumbledore, it should have ended before it started. Also, the movie has two big plot holes later. Snape is able to access Harry's mind when he's checking for Voldemort's connection. He clearly sees what happened at the start of the film. Why wasn't this ability used in the trial? Then Umbridge orders the Veritas serum used on Harry after the fireworks stuff. Why wasn't this ordered in the court case as well? I know Rowling tried to cover this plot hole back with Sirius, but Umbridge is basically demanding it be used on Potter. Meaning, since she's so perfect, he's not skilled to overcome it. He either is skilled and Umbridge never demands it from Snape, or you used it in the trial. Now here's the thing. If I wanted to try to fix this, I would keep this entire sequence, with changes where more people in the jury would bring up my complaints. I would have Dudley be brought to the case. It would have helped bridge also the gap we have with him helping Harry out in the later films, since they kept cutting the Dursleys out. Basically show him what was going on so that Dudley would start to learn not to be an ass anymore. My next issue with the movie is most of Harry's schoolmates go against him when he comes back to Hogwarts. And it's all on the unprovable position that the newspaper was accusing Harry to be the one who killed Cedric. Not only does most of the school believe this, they have Seamus confront Harry. Now, I like the scene, but wrong character. Obviously, the better choice would be Malfoy to do this moment, but it's been done a lot. I could see that's why they changed this. I wouldn't make it Malfoy, but I would make it someone else that hasn't hung around Harry for 4 years. That's the part I don't buy. Yeah, I know, Seamus isn't part of the main cast, but he's been there for 4 years. He had no grudge. Ginny was rescued by Harry. All the crazy crap they went through would be known by them. I just don't buy that the Gryffindor house would just automatically believe this. The kids are not idiots like Fudge. Seamus also confirms one thing I wondered, and it makes the plot look worse, which is the biggest issue I have with the film: Umbridge's abuse. Seamus said to Harry his mom almost prevented him from going back to Hogwarts. Okay, that means the parents and the student have a choice. They aren't forced to attend the school. So Seamus, your family's okay in not bringing you back to this school with no evidence accusing Harry of a crime, but you're fine with Umbridge using a barbaric spell to burn words on a person's hand? I'm sorry, but this doesn't make sense. And this just gets worse as the story goes along. Now, the whole point of all this is for us to hate Umbridge, but the movie took them dumb pills to allow the plot to move forward. Where was the thinking part of the trio? Many times they went around rules in order to find out the truth, but here they don't do it on multiple occasions, and they have horrible dialogue trying to justify it. I will give them credit when Harry went off at Umbridge when he went head on with her nonsense to class, but he didn't go far enough, especially when she was calling Harry a liar to his face in her fake BS nicey nice way. I wish the scene had gone one step further where Harry had said something like, "No one but me was there. I saw a person die. So who did it?" I want to hear it from your mouth on who you think did it. It's because Harry is being pushed around by everyone. I want to see him push those buttons on Umbridge. It would force the argument to go on with, if you believe it was an accident, why are you allowing this prophet newspaper to print lies about me? That makes you look bad, because the one thing she doesn't like is making her look wrong. Then we get to the actual punishment scene, where Umbridge tortures Harry with the messed up spell. I don't buy Harry would do nothing about this. They have this scene in the common room where Hermione is the voice of the audience and Harry says something about giving her satisfaction, or it's more complicated than you think. Oh, you mean like what you had to do in movies 1, 2, and 3? You dealt with things like this, and you dealt with those things when you were younger and less experienced. Every time Hermione opened her mouth, it made the movie look worse and worse, because I thought of a simple thing to deal with this. You prey on Umbridge's ego. Make her do that punishment again to Harry, but this time have someone under Harry's cloak recording it on a video. Is there a rule against Muggle tech being on the grounds? It wasn't stated anywhere in the films. Just have someone bring back a camera during the winter break. Now, I know about the whole McGonagall scene with Umbridge. She found out, but Umbridge using her twisted logic, it didn't help the kids. The point of all this is to start building the doubt in the kids of Umbridge and the school. What is stopping all the kids to just walk? You can't control or force rules on people that are not there. You can't cover up a fact that kids are leaving the school either. This in return would make Umbridge look bad and Dumbledore look good. Plus, put her face in the Daily Prophet. You want to discredit Harry? I want that thrown back at Umbridge. My goal is to service the plot line, reach the same point, but I don't want the kids to look stupid. I want to see them use every trick in the book to win, so we have the video of Harry's abuse. It's shown to some kids, this rattles them. When Umbridge and McGonagall have that argument on the stairs, that's when I would have Harry confront her for a third time, embarrassing her with the video. It gets destroyed, and that's when Harry says, "This is not the school I used to know. I'm not staying here any longer." And he quits the school, but doesn't actually leave. He uses that transforming potion from the second film and gives it to Hedwig. Hedwig turns into fake Harry, showing him leave with the train, while Harry goes in hiding. This turning point, plus when Umbridge pulled that public firing of Professor Trelawney, would start whittling the students down. This would replace the really stupid Felch trying to catch them in the room of requirement scenes. That stuff would still happen, but I would add that the room of requirement would have an exterior exit. Thestrals showed them a special door outside the grounds that connects to the room, involved them a little bit more, and Luna. All this could funnel into the whole, is Harry being influenced by Voldemort, or is this his own conviction of standing up? Play with that down on the audience like the actual movie does. This also would try to alleviate other issues, like why does Umbridge keep all the people caught training at the school? They should have them expelled no matter if Dumbledore took the blame or not. Year 5 takes too many conveniences to move sections of the stories along, when they should have been cut off or gone in another direction. When it comes to drama, I personally like it when a character will act as realistic as possible. You're going to call out people like Umbridge. You're not gonna stand for crap like that. On top of Harry being screwed from so many directions, him seeing Cedric's death, Voldemort coming back, Dumbledore ignoring him, and he can't say why, the images of Voldemort in his head, his face plastered all over the newspaper, and then most of the school turning on him when he's done so much. This story would have worked better if it was like in year 2, way less things happened at that point, and Harry was much less experienced.